Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to understand standard deviation in mutual funds. So let's read over here. A standard deviation is a number expressed as a percentage that can be used to show how much the returns of a mutual fund scheme are likely to deviate from its annual average return. So let's understand this. Look at this graph. Okay. Now let me write down the returns over here, which is in rupees, and let me write down years over here. So what I've actually done is that basically I've done a spread of years, maybe 10 years, and here I've written the returns. All right, now let me say that this is 100. Okay, and so this 100, and I draw a line over here. Okay, now this line is nothing but my average return, which means over these 10 years, let's imagine these are 10 years, let's say this is 2010 and this is 2020. Okay, so in this 10 years the average return generated by this scheme, this is a scheme, let's call it scheme A, has been 100. All right, but if I say that the average return has been 100, does this mean that every year it has been 100? No. There have been some years where it has been more than 100. There have also been years where it has been less than 100, right? So let's imagine that it was somewhat like this. Okay? So now, this, let's say this is 200, this is 150, like that. Okay? So this was a good year. It generated 200, which is more than the average. This was not a good year. Sorry, this is 50. This was not a good year because it generated less, right? So this is what standard deviation is. How much it is deviating from the average, how much the return is deviating from the average. Okay, and you've studied this in maths also, that standard deviation is nothing but how much a series of variables are away, like it may be towards or away from its average. All right, from its average. Okay, now you have also heard, or you may have heard, that standard deviation tells you the volatility of a scheme. So we are going to go here. Okay, a fund's volatility. Now first of all I need to tell you, what does volatility mean? Volatility means the rate at which a price of a stock increases or decreases. So basically, if I say that a stock has high volatility, it means that its prices increase very high and also decrease, or they fall very very low. Okay, so it can increase also very high, it can decrease also. So basically, if this is my stock and this I tell you my price level, then, and this is say stock A is stock A, and this is stock B. It means that stock A has a higher volatility than stock B, because you can see that its prices are increasing very high, decreasing very low. So the prices are what, they're kind of unstable and also unpredictable, because it is increasing also, decreasing also at a very very high rate. But in case of stock B, you see that it's been consistent over the years. These are years, all right, these are years. So over the years it has been consistent and is very very less volatile, right? Now tell me, if this stock A has high volatility, it means what? It means that it has high risk. Why it has high risk? Higher risk compared to stock B, because the prices are increasing very high and decreasing very low. So today if you invest in stock A, it may happen that the money that you've invested will appreciate very high, but it can also happen, so there is a risk of all your money to be plummeting down like this. So you will be in great losses. That is why there is high risk. Now if I find out the average price of this stock over the years, it will be like this. And if I find out the average stock of stock B, if I find out the average price, what it has been, then it is somewhat like this. So you can see that the average of both these stocks are the same, but the volatility, the standard deviation, this is what is standard deviation, how much it is deviating from the average, is more for stock A than stock B. So stock B is a more volatile stock than stock A is more volatile than stock B. Now, this also means that stock A carries a higher risk. Why? Because today, if you invest in stock A, your prices can go up, means the money that you've invested, the shares that you're going to buy of stock A. So, if they can increase also very high, and they can decrease also very low. But if you buy stock B, your risk is not very high. Why? Because it's kind of predictable over the past performances that this stock has been quite consistent. So if this level is 100, then you can understand that it might rise to maybe 115, and then maybe maybe 99, not really more. But this, it can rise to 400, it can also fall to 20, if suppose I'm just considering this to be 100. Correct? So that is why standard deviation can be used to measure a fund's volatility. Now forget about stock. Let's say it's a mutual fund scheme. Now see, okay, now can you tell me which mutual fund scheme is more risky? Obviously mutual fund A, because it has delivered returns, right? And the returns over the past years have been very volatile. So the now this 100, now let's imagine this to be a mutual fund. So basically what this 100 is, your expected return. Okay, now this is not price, this is return. Okay, I'm just changing the graph. So your expected return is 100 for both these schemes. But over here, this expected return can also fall and it can also rise. Correct? And over here, this is my expected return, it's 100. So it's high chances that it will remain 100 or close to 100. Not much deviation from the average. Correct? Okay. So this is what is standard deviation. Now, standard deviation, when you look for in a mutual fund, please remember to always look at it with other ratios, such as you have your Sharpe ratio, alpha, beta, all these things. And it's standard deviation. Most importantly, it's a comparison based ratio, which basically means that it's useful to compare different schemes. Now, I will give you one example. If I say the average return of a mutual fund scheme is 15%, and I tell you the standard deviation is 3%, then that means that if today you invest in this scheme, you are going to get your return somewhere between 12% to 18%. I hope you understood what I did over here. Basically, this is my expected return, 15%. Now it can rise to 3% or go down by 3%, like this. So this is 12 and this is 18, because 5% plus 3% and minus 3%. So what will happen, this will oscillate between these two levels only, because that is how it's deviating. 15% is the average return that this scheme had delivered over the past few years. So maybe this is the expected return that it will also deliver 15% the next year. Okay, that is what is standard deviation. Now in case this had been 10%, then what would have happened? This would have been 25%, this would have been 5%. So you can see that now my return would be 5% to 25%. You can see that there are prospects of higher return. 25 is more than 18. But your losses are also very high in case the prices fall in the market. But over here, the volatility is less, so it's just 12%. Okay, so this has low risk, but this has higher risk. Okay, now I have this table for you, and I want you to fill the values, the minimum value and maximum value. All right, I've given the standard deviation. So for minimum value, these are all in percentage. This is what, 13%. Maximum value, 20 plus 7, 27%. What does this mean? Is that if you studied standard deviation, you would know that 68% of the time, your mutual fund, if you today invest in mutual fund A, then it will give you a return of somewhere between 30% and 27%, and there is high probability for that. Okay, Thank you so much, guys, for watching this video. I hope you understood.